Hey, what's going on guys, it's Chum here, and today I'm going to share with you the top 5 Pokemon that you should be using in the upcoming 7-star Tera raid event featuring Cinderace. As you can see from this post by Ceruledge, the Cinderace is going to be rocking the Fighting Tera type, and this raid event is going to be running over New Year's weekend from the 30th of December to the 1st of January, and then again 2 weeks later, just like Charizard. Now before we start talking about the Pokemon that you should be using in this raid, let's first talk about the general strategy for taking down this 7-star Cinderace. Due to Cinderace's Tera type being fighting, we're going to want to use Pokemon that deal either Psychic, Flying, or Fairy type damage. At the time of making this video, the Cinderace event hasn't begun yet, so we don't exactly know what its moves are going to be. However, we can assume based on Cinderace's original type and Tera type that it's going to be running both Fire type and Fighting type moves, both of which we're going to want to resist. In addition to the typical stab, there are a couple moves that we want to look out for. The first of which being Counter, that is a Fighting type move Cinderace gets on level up, which can immediately one-shot any special attackers by retaliating with double damage. The second move we want to look out for is Sucker Punch, because this can greatly threaten our Psychic type Pokemon. And then finally we have the move Court Change, which can take field effects such as Reflect and Light Screen and swap them from our side of the field to its side of the field. Now that we know what to expect from this Cinderace, let's talk about how to beat it. The first Pokemon on this list, and likely the Pokemon that I'll be taking into the raid, is Pelipper. Pelipper's Water Flying typing is great for this raid because it allows it to resist both the Fire and the Fighting attacks, and in addition to this, Pelipper's ability Drizzle will make it rain, causing the Fire type attacks to do even less damage. As you can see, this Pokemon also has the Flying Tera type, and that's because our primary source of damage is going to be Pelipper's Hurricane, which, due to the rain, can never miss. Looking at the rest of the moves, you can see we're running a brand new move called Chilling Water, which is amazing for Tera raids, because this move will guarantee drop your opponent's physical attack stat by 1 stage every time it hits. The beauty of this move is that you can spam this constantly to keep lowering Cinderace's attack until it's doing next to no damage to your team. For our other 2 moves, we're running some basic utility moves such as Rain Dance to reset the rain in the event that it times out or that Cinderace happens to have sunny day. And then finally we have the move Roost, which will provide us with some reliable healing. For our stat spread, you can see that we're going to want to run a Modest Nature as well as max HP and max special attack investment in order to optimize our ability to tank hits while also dealing damage. For the next Pokemon we have Slowbro. Similar to Pelipper, this Pokemon's dual typing allows it to resist both the Fire and the Fighting type moves that Cinderace will likely be throwing out. In the case of abilities, this Pokemon's abilities don't really have much impact on the Tera raid, so you can feel free to use any of the 3 abilities that Slowbro has access to. As for the Tera type, you can see that we're running a Psychic Tera typing, and this is because that's going to be our primary source of damage. As I mentioned earlier, there is a chance that Cinderace will be running the move Sucker Punch, which can greatly threaten Psychic type Pokemon. However, we have taken this into account with our Slowbro's moveset. As you can see, I've given Slowbro the move Psychic Terrain. Psychic Terrain is amazing because once set up, it's going to boost our Psychic type moves, as well as prevent priority moves, which includes Sucker Punch. Looking at the rest of our moveset, you can see we have Psychic as our main damage dealing move, as well as some other utility moves such as Nasty Plot to increase our damage, and Slack Off to perform some reliable healing. Additionally, similar to Pelipper, Slowbro gets access to the move Chilling Water, which means you can go the route of spamming that move and lowering Cinderace's attack constantly, instead of running one of the other moves that I mentioned earlier. Finally, for our stats, just like Pelipper, we're going to want to run a Modest Nature with max HP and max special attack investment. Moving on to the third Pokemon on this list, we have Armarouge. Armarouge is a Fire Psychic type Pokemon, meaning it's going to resist Fighting type attacks, and with its ability Flash Fire, it's going to be immune to Fire type attacks. And just like Slowbro, Armarouge is rocking the move Psychic Terrain so that we can boost our damage as well as block Sucker Punch. As for the rest of our moves, you can see we have Expanding Force as our main attacking move because it gets an additional boost on top of other Psychic type moves when Psychic Terrain is up. Then of course we have Armor Cannon, which is our really strong Fire type move, which we can use in the event that we want to take advantage of all the Flash Fire boosts. And finally we have the move Acid Spray, which is an amazing move for Tera raids. Acid Spray is a 100% accurate move, which when it connects will deal damage and reduce the opponent's special defense stat by 2 stages. This is amazing because using Acid Spray just a couple of times will make our other moves like Expanding Force and Armor Cannon do a lot more damage. There are a few other moves you could throw into this last slot if you don't want to use Acid Spray. Some of these moves include the move Will-O-Wisp, which we can use to burn Cinderace in order to make it deal less damage, as well as the move Clear Smog, which we can use to reset stats in the event that Cinderace is using some form of buffing move. Finally, just like our previous two Pokemon, we want to run our Armarouge with a modest nature and max HP and max special attack investment. Our previous Pokemon was a Scarlet exclusive, but for our fourth Pokemon we have its Violet counterpart, Ceruledge. Ceruledge being a fire ghost type and having the ability Flash Fire puts it in the unique position that it's actually immune to both the fire and fighting, meaning if Cinderace happens to only run fire and fighting type moves, Ceruledge can't be damaged at all. As I mentioned earlier, typically physical attackers will need to be worried about the move counter, however because we are immune to fighting type Pokemon, Ceruledge actually doesn't need to worry about it at all. Looking at our moveset, you can see that I'm running Psycho Cut as our primary damage dealing move, Bitter Blade as a move that we can click when we need to get some health back, Bulk Up so that we can set up and boost our attack and defense stats, which will help us obviously deal more damage, but also tank any damage from incoming Sucker Punches. And finally we have Will-O-Wisp, which we can use to burn Cinderace and reduce its attack stat. For the Tera type, I have chosen Psychic so that our Psycho Cut can deal more damage. However, Fire type is still a very good Tera type because you can switch to spamming Bitter Blade after terrestrializing to keep yourself at very high HP. If Cinderace is actually running the move counter, you may want to run a Ghost Tera type instead, or even avoid terrestrializing as a whole in order to maintain your fighting immunity. Moving on to our stats, this time we want to run an Adamant Nature to boost our physical attack, as well as invest in both max HP and max attack. Moving on to the final Pokemon, we have what I think is going to be quite the sleeper pick, and that is the brand new Pokemon Espathra. Espathra is a Psychic type Pokemon, meaning it resists the fighting type attacks, however it will take neutral damage from fire type attacks. As you can tell, this Pokemon's not going to be as good at taking hits as the other 4 Pokemon on this list, however I believe that its signature move Lumina Crash is actually going to add a lot of value to these raids. You see, Lumina Crash is similar to Acid Spray in that when it hits the opponent, it causes the target's special defense to drop by 2 stages. The major difference though is that Lumina Crash is a stab attack, super effective, and has twice the base power as Acid Spray. Because of the nature of this Pokemon's defensive typing, as well as its move Lumina Crash, Espathra is going to play somewhat of a glass cannon. So you're going to want to use this Pokemon when you have teammates such as Pelipper or Slowbro spamming Chilling Water to reduce the amount of incoming damage. Looking at the rest of our moveset, you can see that once again we're running Psychic Terrain to boost our damage and block Sucker Punch, as well as both Reflect, which can reduce incoming physical damage for the whole team, and Feather Dance that lowers the target's attack stat by 2 stages in order to reduce the amount of damage that will take. As I mentioned earlier, there is a chance that Cinderace can have the move Court Change, allowing it to take our Reflect and put it on its own side of the field. However, if you are running with a team of special attackers, that won't be a problem because you're not going to be dealing any physical damage. Finally, for our stats, just like the majority of Pokemon on this list, we want to run a Modest Nature to boost our special attack, as well as have max HP and max special attack investment. Alright guys, that's going to bring us to the end of this list of 5 Pokemon that I think you should be running in the upcoming Cinderace Tera Raid event. If you found this video helpful, please drop a like, and if you are watching this video during the event, please let me know which Pokemon you found the most success with. And if it's none of these Pokemon, let me know because I'd love to see what other strategies you guys are trying. Either way, that's going to be it for this video. Once again, I want to thank you guys for watching, hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. See ya!